From the capital city of the state of Ohio, and for the first time in 2 years, a capacity crowd is expected in Boise, Idaho, to surround the blue turf of Albertsons Stadium. The upstart UTEP Miners are in town, off to a 2-0 start as they take on the Broncos of Boise State. And hi, everybody. Welcome to some Friday night college football here on FS1. Alex Faust, Petros Papadakis here with you. Seemed like a fairly straightforward matchup about a month ago. UTEP coming into a Boise team that's always pretty good. And then the Broncos stumbled in the second half against UCF, and UTEP is off to their best start since 2005. They're a good-looking team.
They feel pretty good coming out of Conference USA, and obviously Boise State is the pinnacle of the group of five, and they want a piece of them because they feel like they have a strong and physical football team that is rolling under Dana Dimel, kind of moving the Kansas State model all the way down to El Paso and getting it cracking. And one of the things they're really doing is leaning on a physical, strong, and bludgeoning run game. And that starts with Ronald Awatt, a former defender, kind of a linebacker, safety hybrid guy. He's been back and forth to the running back position a few times, and he has just taken off in the first two games with some big explosive plays. And even though UTEP's not as big as Boise, they're going to try to bully them around.
Yeah, speaking of big explosive plays, Boise State, good first half against UCF last week. The second half, not so much. They stumbled, but they do have a lot of experience with their quarterback, Hank Bachmeier, as the Broncos take the field.
Tough situation, a long rain delay, and Hank Bachmeier is the leader of this football team. Did a great job distributing the ball to a bunch of different receivers throughout the game, because some of the playmakers that Boise's leaned on in the last few years have not been available. There's Khalil Shakir, who is a little bit banged up. They have him on what they call a pitch count. He made an impact against Central. He'll make more of an impact, they believe, tonight. Not to mention the key to their run game, George Holani, who we may or may not see tonight. But if they can get Shakir going, maybe move him in the backfield and screen it a little bit, they might not miss Holani as much.
Yeah, Holani is suited up. We'll see how many touches he actually gets tonight. One by one, the traditions of college football are all coming back. Add this one to the list. Blue turf, capacity crowd, Boise, UTEP next. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage. Rain has cleared out. It was raining a good chunk of the day. Probably helps the conditions a little bit. It's smoky in Idaho with all the wildfires out west. Dana Dimel and the UTEP Miners, who have come up north to visit Boise State for the first time in about a decade and a half, taking on Andy Avalos in his first season as the head coach at Boise State. Big shoes to fill. Chris Peterson, Brian Harsin got to New Year's Six Bowls their first seasons at Boise State. They do have a veteran quarterback at their disposal with Hank Bachmeier, but this UTEP team could pose some challenges with the ground game. Boise State won the toss. They defer to the second half. Justin Garrett and Walter Dawn, both deep, as this kick sails out of the back of the end zone, and we'll get our first look at the Miners of the University of Texas, El Paso. Off to their best start, Petros, 2-0 for the first time since 2005.
And you're going to see two tight ends, two fullbacks, and they might line up with all four of them. They do have a quarterback in Gavin Hardison who can throw the ball and has a strong arm, but make no mistake about what they want to do offensively. In this one, they want to run.
Ronald Awatt will be their main running back, with Deion Hankins out with injury. And Hardison coming off a career-high 3 touchdown passes against Bethune-Cookman last week. Hardison rolls out to his right and completes in the flat to Forrest McKee. One of the fullbacks they'll use, fifth-year senior, tackled by Markel Reed. And it's a first down for UTEP as we take a look at the Miners' offense. So Hardison in his second season, and there are a lot of veteran guys, a lot of guys that have returned. You know, in years past, you would think that, well, maybe get a little bit of success, show off, move on to another program, especially with the transfer portal. They've done a great job in retaining talent. 18-yard pickup on first down. And there's the first carry of the day for Awok. And he powers ahead for 7, for 8, and all the way past the line to gain, dragging the pile. Another first down for the Miners.
We told you what they were going to come in and do. They move the quarterback on first down and get one of the fullbacks involved just to show that they're going to give the ball to the fullback. And here's Awok off another fine block from Trent Thompson, the tight end, and just refuses to go down. That's an attitude run for a first down and a good stop for UTEP.
2 plays, 2 first downs, both on the ground. The junior, Ronald Awok, he's classified as a redshirt junior with the bonus year last year. Ronaldo Flores gets the call here and rumbles ahead for about 4 yards. J.L. Skinner making the stop as we take a look at the Broncos defense. They did wind up allowing a lot of points to UCF last week, 36 in fact. And their key loss was Avery Williams, last year's Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Year, but he did just a bit of everything for Boise State.
A lot of return game for him as well. Big shoes to fill.
2nd down and 5 here. To the outside, and it's reeled in by Walter Don Jr. That'll move the sticks. It's another first down on a 7-yard pickup for the Miners, and what an efficient start they're off to.
Now they get you a little shotgun look. Straight drop back. He never really had to look off. Don Jr., who makes a very nice out route cut and a nice accurate throw to the senior out of Mesquite.
Up to the Boise State 35-yard line. Awok gets the call, finds a seam, and has another first down. Tackle made by Rodney Robinson. If not for that ankle tackle, Awok may have been gone.
Ankle tackle is right. You see Rodney Robinson there. He was on his back. And when you got the last guy in the defense on his back, hanging on for dear life, you're running with some attitude. Robinson just saw the bottom of Awok's shoe there. 2 great carries to start the game for him.
Under 26 yards on the ground last week for Awok, who has led the charge here on this opening drive. Forrest McKee in the backfield with him here. Lining up at fullback, Awok again. Gets the block from McKee and gets 2 on first down. Riley Wimpy in there on the stop for the Broncos, leading tackler for Boise each of the last 2 seasons.
You know, there's a lot of window dressing in football, a lot of people moving around, throwing the ball. They just lined up Trent Thompson and Forrest McKee and just pushed them to the right side and put Awok in behind him. They are really trying some attitude in the run game so far.
Rotating Flores back in here. Dives ahead for about 4. Ezekiel Noah on the stop for the Broncos. Now last week allowed 255 rush yards to UCF and UTEP. This is a team, this is what they'll do all day long.
And unless Boise starts really loading that box and being more physical at the point of attack, they're going to roll him right into the end zone. See big Shane Irwin there, the sack master. He hasn't had a big chance here.
Well, Wildcat, Gavin Hardison, bottom of your picture, and they line up Flores in the Wildcat, but a timeout is called.
Timeout, UTEP, they're first.
So we'll step aside on what's been an impressive opening drive for the Miners on the road in Boise. All the way down to the Boise 16. Back after this. Boise State will be seeking its 5th Mountain West championship this year. That'd be the most in the history of the league, but this is not a good start to the day for Andy Avalos of the Broncos.
Well, especially for a guy that prides himself on the defensive side of the ball, was a great and inspirational linebacker at his time in Boise, but right now they're catching the forearm from the Miners.
3rd and 4 for the Broncos 16. They'll float this to the end zone, back shoulder, and incomplete, intended for Justin Garrett. Tyreek LaBeouf in coverage. LaBeouf with a pair of interceptions last week against UCF. And it brings up 4th down.
And a good bend but not break moment, creating a 3rd down and long situation, and just not really catchable. Very good by LaBeouf, who's a long corner, and like you said, Alex, would have been the hero of last week, and that thing turned out differently for Coach Avalos.
So we'll try this field goal from 33. And Gavin Beckley from McKinney, Texas, the junior. He's only missed once in his collegiate career, bangs it through. And it's a productive opening drive for the UTEP Miners. We're on the board first in Boise.
10:36 to go in the first quarter. And the Miners lead the Broncos 3-0.
So that, an impressive opening drive for UTEP. 59 yards on 8 plays, and they seem to be able to run the ball at will. Let's take a look at our Built for Success, presented by Rocket Mortgage. For the playbook on home loans, Rocket can. Petros.
Well, can UTEP match the toughness of what is a team that's physically superior? And so far on that first drive we saw George Holani can carry the load for Boise State's run game. Will they let him? How much will he play, if at all? And we're talking about Coach Avalos and him coming into his own as the head of this proud program. Boise State, one of the only programs I can think of that through 5 head coaches, Dirk Cutter, Hawkins, Chris Peterson, Harsin now at Auburn, and now into Avalos, that they've kept their identity. And that just speaks to what a great thing they've had going for quite some time.
Pretty remarkable. And Stephon Cobbs, who takes it out to the 20 and runs into resistance there. And the Broncos will have the ball for the first time. Well, offense, I don't think was the issue. They got out to a phenomenal start last week. Remember, there was the 2-hour weather delay, but they were ready to go. Led 21-0 with 10:43 to go in the second quarter. And then stumbled on the other end of the ball. Hank Bachmeier looked terrific last week.
He did. He had the late pick. That was a mistake, but there's no doubt that he was heroic, distributing the ball. The rain delay was the lightning delay, very difficult in a foreign place for Boise State. Let's see how they bounce back at home in a more comfortable environment.
Well, the bounce house is always pretty hostile. Bachmeier with time throws, juggled by Khalil Shakir, cuts upfield. Boy, that could have been in and out of his hands fairly easily. Reeled it in and found an opening to pick up 12. Tackled in the end by Dennis Barnes, but he moves the sticks, and they're going to go pretty quick.
What a cut by Shakir there. That's something that sets him apart.
Bachmeier again with time to throw. Wobbling spiral, and it's incomplete. Intended for Stephon Cobbs. Tight coverage by Walter Neal Jr. A flag comes in.
Walter Neal Jr. is a guy that Dana Dimmel loves, a transfer from his home.
Pass interference. Defense number 15. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Kansas State is where Walter transferred in from. Kind of a late flag, it looked like, in that situation. I didn't see the flag, and you'd probably be able to see it on that blue turf. See what happens with him and Cobb. Well, there the hand goes out, and then he does try to grab on. So definitely warranting the flag, but I just didn't see it.
At the 46.
So it's a first down at the Boise 46. Here's Bachmeier again, well protected. Gonna zip it down the sideline. What a grab! Khalil Shakir! Spectacular!
A lot of confidence with Hank Bachmeier getting rid of the ball, stepping into that one. And that is not a ball that should be caught. That's just a superior athletic play.
There they go again. This is the first touch for Cyrus Habibi Likio, the senior from Palo Alto, California, the Oregon transfer, who had 12 carries last week against UCF.
What a catch by Shakir, and after the first down, they get right back up to the line of scrimmage. We'll see how much we see Likio or Andrew Van Buren. No George Holani so far.
And Holani was suited up, but we don't expect him to get many touches. Holani in on this play. as Bachmeier drifts back, throws off his back foot, looking for Holani, too tall to handle. Jadrian Taylor in coverage.
That was sent up to be a throwback, and they did send Holani up the field against Taylor, and he did a really good job of sniffing that out and going with him.
Holani again in the backfield. Bachmeier quick to get rid of it. Incomplete. Intended for Riley Smith with Tyreek James nearby, and it brings up 4th down. Well, we haven't given you a chance to take a look at the Broncos offense. They've been going so fast. And again, Holani, we'll see how many touches he actually gets. Shakir, as we know, is their featured receiver. And this will be a field goal try from 40 yards for Jonah Dalmas. And it should be fairly straightforward, no wind. And indeed, that's the case. What the start to this game, Petros. Two offenses that are in gear. UTEP running the ball. Boise throwing it around the yard. Shakir, a spectacular 31-yard grab to set up the field goal.
The claw.
Well, we were promised some tempo from Boise, and they brought it to match the ground game that we expected from UTEP.
Yeah, we were promised that too, and they showed up grinding with their front, and Boise showed up throwing all over the place. Some spectacular plays from Bachmeier and company, so as advertised.
Joe Velasquez kicks off, and Walter Dawn Jr. lets this bounce out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Well, it's exactly the matchup you would have drawn up. UTEP, a team that returns 10 starters on offense. We knew they were going to go through Awat. Hardison made the reads he had to. This is pretty much what UTEP wanted to do.
They did. The only thing that I would say that they could have done better is roll that thing all the way into the end zone.
Yep.
And Boise didn't have the ball for very long now. That was just about a 45-second field goal drive. So this Boise D, they've been out there a long time sustaining these run blows from the Miners.
This is off the hands underneath. Forced McKee the intended target. Rodney Robinson wrapped him up to force the incompletion.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense number 68. Penalties half the distance to the goal, remains 1st down.
Penalty on Zuri Henry, the junior from Dallas, Texas.
In his 25th career start, setting his team back. This is a hard thing to overcome when you are a primarily running football team, as Coach Dimmel's team is, the Kansas State style, although with not as much quarterback run incorporated, at least not so far.
By the way, that whole K-State thing, that's not just us saying it. Dana has said he wants to build them to be like K-State in El Paso.
He knows how to rebuild a program. He saw Bill Snyder do it.
There's Awat. Spins away from the initial contact from Riley Wimpy, and then is driven to the ground by Jackson Cravens after a short pickup.
Big tackle by Jackson Cravens. Looked like he just swallowed Awat up. And Awat's not small. 6', 205. Now you have to get a little more creative in your play calling if you're Dave Warner, the OC from the Miners, coming here from Michigan State.
Flores in the backfield with Hardison here on a 2nd and 20. And nowhere to go for Flores, who gets 1, maybe 2 yards in the end. Dimitri Washington, Ezekiel Noah.
It's the hometown guy from Homeland, Idaho, Scott Matlock, number 99, that gets there first and really stops Flores from getting any kind of leverage in his feet to gain any yardage. Nice job by Matlock. Beloved here in Idaho, as you can see.
Carries that bleed blue flag on the field. They're trying to go up the seam here, and they connect with Jacob Cowing. J.L. Skinner brought him down immediately, but it won't be enough to get back the penalty yardage, and it'll be a 4th down.
And you see how a penalty like that just sets you back so much when you don't really have a big play offense. Although Jacob Cowing, extremely fast receiver that Boise is very wary of.
Cowing, second team All-Conference USA last year. Stephon Cobbs back at his own 20-yard line.
There you go.
Josh Sloan punts it away and forces Cobbs back. Cobbs turns upfield, has a couple blockers with him. There he goes. Look out! Stephon Cobbs all the way, 80 yards. Touchdown, Boise State. First career kick return touchdown for Stephon Cobbs, and the Broncos have the lead.
They love it in Idaho. And that is what happens if you have a strong leg. Sometimes you can outkick your coverage. We've heard that in many different machinations over the years, but that is the original definition of it. And that's what's happened to UTEP there. And we talked about replacing some of the great players of yesteryear. Cobbs just had one heck of a return to stun the Miners.
Final tally was 81 yards. And they'll retry here with movement up front. Rodney Burnett, our referee, to adjudicate the penalty.
Offside, defense number 54 in the neutral zone, causing the kicking team to move. The penalty's been declined.
Unless they move it up another yard. They'll just retry the point after. Jonah Dalmas. And he knocks it through to make it 10-3. In favor of the Broncos. Instant offense from the junior from Fort Worth, Texas. 10-3, Boise. 81 yards. Stephon Cobbs had never taken a punt for a return until this.
Well, he had big shoes to fill like we were talking about. Boise's had playmakers for years, but Avery Williams with the 9 return touchdowns replacing from last year. And you saw the punter, Josh Sloan, just get obliterated at the end of that run. Great job by Cobbs. And now UTEP with the ball back. And this Boise D, they might be a little tired. They've been out there the whole first quarter. Let's see if they can get some first downs going, so this thing doesn't get away from them in the first quarter on the blue turf. This is an intimidating place to play.
Yeah, the Broncos' official time of possession is 1 minute and 21 seconds. And it feels every bit of that. But we'll see if UTEP has a response here to try to wear this Boise defense down. Avalos has to be thrilled with that. And you mentioned Avery Williams, just how deadly he was on special teams for all those years with the Broncos.
Now he's hanging out with the Falcons.
Yeah, why not? Here's Awat. Shoots to the middle and gets run down by Shane Irwin. Ripped to the ground after a gain of 1.
Love this kid, Shane Irwin. Crazy journey. San Diego State, Long Beach City College, now Boise. Sack leader last year. Back-to-back multi-sack games. And he's become a little bit of a cult hero with his speaking style in the Boise local media.
I look over at your board. You got him circled over there. There's your boy. Awat again in the backfield as Hardison drops back to pass. Has time. Looks down the sideline, and contact between Justin Garrett and Markel Reed draws the flag. And This should go the way of the Miners.
Looked like Reed was kind of impeding Garrett at the top of his route just from that first look.
Pass interference, defense number 8. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Question is it a catchable ball? It looked like it sailed pretty far out of bounds. There's the matchup right there.
A little bit out of frame there. Well, either way, that's a gift. Whether you want to consider it the contact or whether it was uncatchable, as Willie Eldridge gets his first carry of the day for the Miners. Searching for the edge, picks up 1.
Just a freshman, but he's played well. 118 yards against Bethune-Cookman last week. Good balance getting to the edge there. And this second down play is a huge play for this UTEP offense because they have a lot of trouble in 3rd and long with this Boise pass rush.
Flores at running back. Tyron Smith in motion, and a whistle and a false start.
False start. Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's Jeremiah Byers, redshirt freshman from Austin, Texas.
There he is.
Right of your screen.
Yeah.
Second and 13 from the UTEP 36, and again laundry on the field.
And this is dirty laundry on the field for UTEP. They just can't go backwards like
False
this.
start. Offense number 31. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Now, this field, Petros, has something to do with it. In the 2 seasons prior to 2020, when there were very few fans, opponents had more false starts on this field than any other home field in FBS football.
Very loud. You feel alone up there. They lock the door behind you. You got to hunker down and hold your water at the line of scrimmage. Tough situation now. Almost another 2nd and 20 like they had on their last drive.
They have won 19 straight home openers here. On 2nd and 18, Hardison's going to take a shot, try to bail him out at once. Contact again. An appeal for a flag. Caleb Biggers in coverage on Miles Banks. No flag, incomplete pass, 3rd down.
I don't know what was more impressive, the coverage by Biggers there, who kind of gave him the old dead arm with the left, or the way he got up, which was also pretty athletic. I believe that's called a kip, the way he got up. They're going to try to stretch the field. There he goes. Yeah!
I thought he was doing the worm there for a second.
In the air.
3rd and 18. Gonna throw again. Hardison going through his progressions. He'll go to the near side and high, pointing the football here to make the catch. It is a 31-yard grab to get the first down and bail out UTEP on this drive.
Well, Spencer Danielson told us, the D coordinator at Boise, this guy can throw. And like you said, Alex, he worked his whole progression, came all the way back across the field to get it to Garrett.
There's Awat. Oh, Awat. How about the yards after contact? Markel Reed brought him down. But again, Awat with an 11-yard run to move the sticks.
That's 3 or 4 runs where you've seen a DB hanging on to his ankle at the end of the play. And it's only the first quarter. They got to keep giving him the ball so he can continue to grow physically throughout the game.
There's Awat again.
Man, does he attack the line of scrimmage.
Well, every coach wants to say, well, we like what we got. And Dana Dimmel said, well, we like our offensive line, and it's showing here.
They like the matchup with both their fronts going into this game, and he was quietly and humbly optimistic about the way his offensive line would play and their ability to run the ball against anybody. We see it right now.
Willie Eldridge, this time tackled in the backfield. Markel Reed, J.L. Skinner in on the stop. Loss of 1 and a 3rd and long coming up for the Miners.
They've had solid play from the junior safety Skinner out of San Diego. That time I would have liked to see Eldridge come just a little bit more physically behind that big fullback's James Tupou's block on the right side, and he'd have had a couple more yards.
Miners 1 for 3 on 3rd down. That one coming on this drive. From the Boise 24. Up the middle, caught by Jacob Cowing. And that's enough for a 1st down. Tyreek Jones with the tackle, but again, the Miners are finding ways to move the ball.
Now, this is the mark of a healthy offense. Look at Cowing, just button up there, turn around, come back to the ball, right in front of Jones, who's another very solid safety for Boise, and convert the 1st down with a called drop back pass. Brilliant.
Cowing, their leading receiver this season in yardage. Eldridge in the backfield once again, along with James Tupou. Lines up at fullback, and he'll block for Eldridge, who cuts to his right and barrels ahead for 2. Ezekiel Noah with the tackle. Clock inside of 2 minutes to go in this 1st quarter. Knew that the Miners were going to run the ball, and 13-7, it's about the ratio you want to imagine.
That's great balance for them. And when they've thrown the ball, they've done it pretty well. Hardison with a huge 3rd down, a couple of them on this drive.
Tough place to convert with all the noise. On 2nd down, Awad burrows ahead. Gets 3, maybe 2.5. We'll see where they spot the ball. Scott Matlock brought him down to the end, and another 3rd down.
He got underneath Jackson Cravens. You know, what I like about Awad is he's not always jumping into the right hole, but when he jumps into the hole, he goes the whole way and does not hesitate, doesn't stop his feet, trying to take it to those beefy Boise interior guys.
11th play of the drive. On a 3rd and 6. And that dart is complete along the near side. Once again, it's Cowing on a 3rd down to convert and set up a 1st and goal for the Miners.
Cowing looks like he's walking amongst the giants, those big safeties. Skinner 6'4", Tyreek Jones 6'2", and little Jacob, who's under 6 feet, making all kinds of 3rd down catches in front of these guys.
3 for 3 on 3rd down this drive. That's a fairly experienced Boise State defense. Awad plants and tries to find a seam. Nice tackle from Riley Wimpy to stop him as we reach the end of the 1st quarter. UTEP has come into the intimidating venue of Albertsons Stadium in the blue turf, and they have held their own in this 1st quarter, knocking on the door, looking to tie this game. 10-3 Broncos after 1. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage. What a game we've got. A Friday night in Boise, Idaho. Boise State leading UTEP 10-3. The Miners with another impressive march down the field. 12 plays, 70 yards, and they are knocking on the door. It's a 2nd and goal. Ronaldo Flores lines up in the Wildcat for the Miners. With 9 carries last week, it's the fullback instead who gets it, James Tupou, and he goes nowhere. read perfectly by the Bronco defense. Ezekiel Noah, Tyreek Jones, the initial hands in on the stop. Third down.
They have Tupou right there next to Flores, and I think that was a direct snap to Tupou called. Flores did make a move for it. They might have wanted direct snap it to Flores and then lead Tupou through. I'm not exactly sure. Either way, it didn't work.
No gain. Ball at the 5-yard line on a 3rd and goal. Watts lowers the shoulder and can't get there. J.L. Skinner knocked him down, and a big stop for the Bronco D.
Watt's pretty physical, but it's going to be hard to break that high-low tackle of Riley Wimpy. And then, like you said, here's the low, there's the high. J.L. Skinner, once his legs are out from under him, getting a free shot at that physical back. And Boise stout again in the red zone. UTEP's going to have to be a little bit more creative down there. That's a big safety now.
6'4", 218 pounds. Skip. They'll go along with linebacker Riley Wimpy. So a 21-yard attempt. And again, the Miners get points out of it. Would have loved more after a 14-play, 70-yard drive, but another 3 for UTEP, and it's 10-6. Well, they may not be leading, but they probably have achieved one of their objectives, Petros, in holding on to possession. UTEP Miners, 15 minutes worth.
They have possessed the football, and of course the punt return has something to do with that, but they've run the ball and kept Hank Bachmeier on the sideline. Admirable.
Could be a touchback to start here, unless they give it to Stephon Cobbs again. He had the 81-yard return for the touchdown. Well, to help people affected by Hurricane Ida, we invite you to visit redcross.org or text the word Ida to 90999. That'll allow you to instantly make a $10 donation, which will help people in need. Every single donation matters. Financial donations enable the Red Cross to prepare for, respond to, and help people recover from not only this disaster, but many others, including the wildfires out west. Impact of the air quality has subsided with the rain earlier today in Boise. Bibi Likio on first down, a loss of 1. Tyrese Knight with the tackle.
T. Knight, one of the biggest hitters on that UTEP defense, came and stifled another run play try by the Broncos. They've not been able to get that side of things going all season long.
They had a net of just 20 yards. Part of that, they had a bad snap that went out of the back of the end zone. As this pass is caught with one hand by Shakir. Another highlight reel grab. 19 yards for Shakir at a first down.
He's one-on-one with the nickel, Dennis Barnes, and Bachmeier just throws it outside for him to get it.
There's a Bibi Likio barreling ahead. He's close to the line to gain.
What a play by Shakir in the one-on-one, and what great understanding between him and his quarterback, Hank Bachmeier. And after the first down, then the quick run play gets another first down. That's the way Boise's going to try to get that rushing attack going.
Off-play action. Bachmeier, tons of time, gets hit after he releases. There's Shakir, spin move up to the 20. 15 and 10 before he is tackled out of bounds. Tyreek James was there to eventually bring him down. 36 yards for Shakir, who's racking him up tonight.
And that was a no-look pass from Bachmeier, Patrick Mahomes style. He just threw that thing out to the crossing route of Shakir, knowing that he would be there after deking the whole defense looking downfield, but he had a heck of a lot of time.
Paid the price after the fact. George Holani checks in for the Broncos. Bachmeier pulls it back, fires, incomplete. Dennis Barnes in coverage on Davis Cutter, son of the former Boise head coach.
Transfer out of Portland State. as Hank tries to get it set up again for second down. Some urgency, but not too much tempo.
Holani again in the backfield. On second down, he gets the call. Holani stops up and gets to pay dirt. Well, Holani wasn't expected to see much action tonight, but he's made it productive, and he extends the Boise lead.
Watch him set up and gang the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Week last week and just gets him in the open field. Makes things look silly. Hayward, too. What a run by Holani.
Just a minute 53. That's all it takes for another score. Holani caps off the 75-yard drive. Boise quickly extending the lead. Sampling of what George Holani brings to the table. Only appeared in 3 games last year. Torn MCL. Still not 100%, but 1,000 yards the year prior, and that kept the streak going of 11 straight years. Boise had a 1,000-yard rusher. That's more than any other team in the nation.
He really is the key to the entire offense and the balance of the entire Bronco offense.
There's Walter Don Jr. from the 3-yard line. Not a great decision to take it out. DJ Schramm with the heavy contact. And the ball will be at the UTEP 14-yard line.
Now, it's easy to cheat on those push-ups when you have that big snout. You see, he doesn't have to bend his elbows that
Are you
much.
calling out poor technique?
Kinda. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do when you have that big T-Rex face, but still.
Maybe it's the short arm. I don't.
Buster looks good, and he's happy to have the people in the stadium. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Great to have fans back. One of the great atmospheres in college football.
No doubt.
They love their Broncos. Trouble for Hardison. And he's sacked. Ball comes out. Matlock has it for the Broncos. Tyreek LaBeouf was there, and Scott Matlock cleaned it up.
And this is on the young man, the redshirt sophomore out of Hobbs, New Mexico. Gavin Hardison needed to get rid of this ball. Awad comes over, tries to buy it some time, but that ball's just got to come out. And as he's going down on the ground, Washington on top of him.
I called LaBeouf. It was Dimitri Washington right there, yep. Big turn of events in this game, isn't it?
Disastrous for UTEP. And that's what happens when you get away a little bit from your identity. Big 7-step drop on first down. Quarterback holds it a little bit too long. Next thing you know, Boise with the ball back.
So credit Dimitri Washington with the big play, and Matlock with his first fumble recovery of the season. And the Broncos are set up at the 3-yard line.
And you look at this turn of events and the explosive plays with Khalil Shakir, and you just wonder if Hardison and that offense missed a big opportunity early in this game in the red zone twice and having to settle for those 2 field goals in this hostile place.
First and goal for Boise State, and now for UTEP. This is a huge moment. They're going to stop Andrew Van Buren, the running back. And Van Buren, untouched.
I like Van Buren. He's a big changeup for this offense. He's yet to really take over a game, but man, is he a big back at Chaminade High School. in West Hills, California. They also play on blue turf at the Nod. You should know. So he's always very comfortable on that turf, and he is their big back. A good changeup if they can get Holani healthy and Habibi Lakio going forward.
2 touchdowns in 18 seconds elapsed game time. What was a fairly narrow lead has ballooned to 24-6. Van Buren in for his second touchdown of the season.
We'll see what's about to happen. I'm making a change today. The liquor been taking a pain.
4 seconds. It continues a theme of efficiency, I guess, if nothing else, for Boise, obviously set up by the fumble recovery from Scott Matlock.
I mean, Boise's got 24 points and 3:25 of possession, which is almost impossible. Special teams, defense, offense, all striking quickly.
Dawn's going to take another one out. That's what set them up in that position the drive prior. And again, it's DJ Schramm who ran into him. In almost the same spot in the field. We're just getting started with a big weekend of college football on Fox FS1. Big noon kickoff leads you into Oregon, Ohio State. That's top 15 matchup. And then 3:30 Eastern, number 5 Texas A&M takes on Colorado. All the action starts 10 a.m. Eastern. Big noon kickoff. Set your alarm early on the West Coast. Only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Still waiting for some offensive explosion from the Pac-12 North.
That one game might carry the whole division when it comes to non-conference play this year. Awat blown up in the backfield by Tyreek Jones. And now this Boise defense is starting to feel it.
Well, they brought the safety way up as an extra man who was not blockable. And he had one-on-one with Awat, and he won that clearly. Great tackle.
2-yard loss for Awat. They're going to go back to the well, it seems, with Awat in the backfield. Larson looking to throw. And he completes here to Justin Garrett. Beg your pardon, that is Jacob Cowan. He's made a couple of big catches here. 11 yards, that'll get him to a 3rd and manageable here.
Watch Awat pick up the blitz in here heroically there against Riley Wimpy, who just goes flying, and that buys Hardesty just the extra second to get that ball to Cowing.
There's Tyreek LaBeouf. A couple big plays last week. 3rd and 1. Play clock down to 2. Got it off just in time. Awat looking for the edge. He won't get there. LaBeouf and Jones. 4th down.
Tough for Awat because the hole was really one cut sooner, but it would have been a very tight cut underneath the lead block.
No gain brings up 4th down.
You're going to see it right there. It's underneath there, but Jones really had a beat on him all the way. Even if he did take it up the field, he would have had a better chance to get that extra yard. But UTEP's got to give it back again.
Joshua Sloan, punting.
Stephon Cobbs back to receive this punt. Josh Sloan, who got run over earlier in this game. And a fair catch at the 38-yard line. 39-yard punt. Well, of course, the opening Sunday of the NFL season coming up, and an exclusive interview with Aaron Rodgers coming up this Sunday.
If they wanted to make a change, even though I just won MVP and didn't see my future with the team past 2021, then why wait? You know, I mean, if they drafted my replacement, so let them play if that's what you want.
Revealing interview with Aaron Andrews exclusively on Fox NFL Sunday, 2 Eastern.
That's hotter than an Idaho baked potato right there.
The story of the offseason in the National Football League. Off play action. There goes Cobbs. Nobody nearby. 61 yards and another quick strike for the Broncos.
That has been their theme tonight. Quick strikes, and they caught Dennis Barnes peeking in the backfield, and Hank Bachmeier saw it immediately. It was a one-on-one situation with the way the coverage was. There was no help for the nickel with the safety. And beautifully done, and Cobbs with his second touchdown in a second what kind of way in the first half.
31 points on 3 minutes and 35 seconds of possession time. Life comes at you fast in the Northwest. Cobbs with another touchdown. Well, it seems like it's been an eternity ago since we were talking about UTEP holding time of possession, trying to wear down the Boise defense. Well, the offense took care of matters in the second quarter, didn't it?
Yeah, look at that. Just 2 total yards for UTEP here in the second quarter, as Boise has just had explosive play after explosive play. Special teams, big turnovers on defense. The offense looks sharp. They've even got the run game going.
This time it'll be a touchback. You just had a feeling that fumble that set up Boise at the 3-yard line, the recovery from Matlock, and that's the type of play in a game like this where if you're UTEP, it's going to be uphill sled.
Well, the UTEP game plan was good. Possess the ball. Keep Hank Bachmeier on the sideline. And they had 2 great drives to start the game that they had to settle for 3 a couple times as Coach Dimmel trying to reconcile the last 7-8 minutes of play like the rest of us are. Seeing his team go down by a pretty big margin pretty quickly. But first downs are what they need.
Yeah. The last 2:50 of actual game time, 21 points for Boise.
It's almost impossible.
There's Willie Eldridge. Nowhere to go. Got back to the original line of scrimmage. Lowering his shoulder there was Rodney Robinson.
Great job by Robinson. Great job by Skinner, who's just a stalker out there. A young back like Eldridge, a freshman, used to running away from people, tries to run away from those guys, Robinson and Skinner, and just what a terrible feeling to know that they're right on top of you.
Still just 2 yards this quarter for the UTEP offense. Eldridge again. Garrett in motion, top of your picture. And Hardison gonna throw. Got hit. Incomplete pass. Flag is down. Might have been a late hit on the quarterback.
He took a really big shot, it looked like, from Callahan.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 22. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Something completely unrelated to the matter that will give to UTEP a first down.
And that's what they need, just to restore some order and get into the locker room. Some points would be great, but right now, with the quick strike ability of Boise, just running some clock and doing some things on offense that you're comfortable with in an adverse situation is what Dana Dimmel's probably going to have to revert to.
So after the penalty, ball on the 40-yard line. And there goes Flores up the middle. Cut down at midfield by Robinson.
Ray Flores has a great story, a walk-on. He's led a high school in El Paso, home of the Indians. He's a real hometown star. Just 6'2", 205. He got the scholarship this year. He plays tailback for him. He does Wildcat. He runs down on all the special teams. Grew up loving the minors and living his dream and playing on the blue turf tonight. A lot of fun.
He was going to be a wide receiver. He was in spring ball. Had to move back to running back with the injury to Deion Hankins. As Hardison slides ahead here. Give him 2 on first down. Well, Hardison He's found ways, right?
Sure, he's had some impressive third down and long situations. A 2nd and 20 he pulled out on the last field goal drive. Cowing's shown a lot of speed out there, but there's no doubt they're outmatched. The one thing they can do is go forward and run the ball.
Hardison over the middle. Ooh, off the hands of Garrett, who got blown up by Riley Wimpy. Ouch.
Yeah, tough for Garrett, tough for Hardison to leave his guy out there like that. You never want to do that, stretch a guy's body out so he's like a big hanging piece of meat that Rocky works out on, you know, at the, the old movie. Look at that, just laid out your whole body for that guy to take a shot. Wimpy, good to see Garrett get up from it. That'll knock the wind out of you. Remember when Rocky was punching those sides of beef? That's what it looks like when a guy's his arms up like that.
Not quite that cold yet.
Not yet.
Not that time of year yet. Play clock running all the way down, and UTEP's going to take a timeout. On a 3rd and 8 on the plus side of midfield.
Timeout. UTEP, their second. 30-second.
So 30-second timeout. Still 6.5 to go in the half. Now tomorrow on Fox, we hope you can join us and the Yankees and the Mets as they take Citi Field on the 20th anniversary of the day that America will never forget. Tomorrow, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Fox and the Fox Sports app. It will be a special night in Queens, a site that truly helped New York heal 20 years ago. Here in Boise, a 3rd down and 8 for the UTEP Miners. Reynaldo Flores will come back out after the timeout. UTEP down to 1 timeout this half. Hardison has found ways to convert on 3rd down tonight. Justin Garrett's been a part of that. On the 48-yard line, Hardison completes to Jacob Cowing, slips a couple tackles, has blockers with him. Still on his feet, he's in the end zone. Jacob Cowing, 48 yards, and the Miners are right back in this thing.
Well, you said it, Alex. Hardison has done some good things, especially on 3rd down. Flores does a good job hanging in there and trying to pick up. Boise brought extra guys, but none of them got home or really even threatened Hardison, and he was able to get it to the fastest player on the team, the sophomore out of Maricopa, Arizona, and he uses his speed and patience down the field to change things around for the Miners.
It's a great example. You're right, Betches, of not getting ahead of yourself.
The kick is good by Beckley.
Well, that was a very Boise-like 2 minutes and 22 seconds on that drive for the UTEP Miners, who have their first touchdown of the night. Jacob Cowing capping off the drive. 5 plays, 75 yards.
Gavin Beckley on the field ready to kick off.
Idaho's a tough place to play in.
No doubt, but a great answer from the Miners after getting way down early.
Stephon Cobbs back here at his own goal line. Cobbs, hard at the 20-yard line. Stop up the return.
He knocked his back pad out.
He's Baptist on special teams to make the tackle. Well, if you were just looking at that story, the total yards, it wouldn't be all that descriptive for how this game has transpired. Andrew Van Buren in for the Broncos to start this drive at the 21-yard line. Bachmeier swings it into the flat. Khalil Shakir, and he's out by midfield. Shoved out by Davion Inyang.
Not sure what happened there. Yeah, I don't think anybody was over there.
Yeah.
You know, that was about the easiest read Hank Bachmeier's going to have in a long time. Just nobody out there to guard Shakir. They're lucky he didn't take it all the way to the house with his speed.
Bachmeier again. Launched downfield and off the right hand of Octavius Evans, his first target of the night. Incomplete pass. It's quite the arm. He looks really comfortable slinging it around.
Well, he knows how to do it. We're talking about a record-breaking quarterback at the high school level at Murrieta Valley High School in Southern California. He's a bit of a slinger. They kind of have to ramp it down sometimes, get him to check it down.
Bachmeier, sideline, and incomplete. Flag comes in late. Torrey Richardson was in the area. Billy Bowen's the target. 2 flags in on the play.
Flags in the secondary.
You get a feeling they really like some of their perimeter matchups, don't you, Alan?
Keep going on.
Pass interference. Defense number 8. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That is Torrey Richardson right on top
15-yard penalty, and the ball's at the 35-yard line.
kind of right in his chest, not looking so much back at the ball. I would have been okay with them eating the flag on that.
Misdirection on first down, but nowhere for Cobbs to go. After all that scampering, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Walter Neal got a piece of him. Mark it down for a loss of 1. A very eventful first down play.
When you run the reverse and then you reverse the reverse, there's not going to be anybody out there blocking for you. Cobbs has some elite speed. That's the only reason he got back to the line of scrimmage, or barely.
So here he is. Van Buren once again, the lineup to the left of Bachmeier. He'll get the call, and he'll go nowhere. One. It's a third down as Cobbs limps off the field.
Yeah, looks like he might have hurt his ankle there a little bit. Yeah, his ankle stopped short there on the turf. Hope he's okay. He got up awkwardly.
Jump back on side. That's Tyreek James.
You think they had a blitz call?
Just maybe. I don't know. Possibly. And a rush 6, and they got to the quarterback, but he got in the way anyway. Evans makes the catch. Bachmeier paid the price, but it was right on time.
Hank's not scared to stand in there and let it go. Doesn't even flinch in the face of that hard pressure from Hayward, and just a perfect back shoulder throw. And now he really is starting to distribute the ball to multiple targets.
Bachmeier on his back foot. Easy work. Oh, he couldn't hang on. C.T. Thomas knocked out of his hands by Davion Inyang. Never give up on the play. Thomas looked like he had a sure touchdown.
Watch Inyang with the big right hand slap, raking it out. Really great play. Like you said, don't give up on a play as you're falling down and the momentum takes you out of the end zone. Forcing a second down and 10.
There's Holani. That's up 3.
Got to be one of the most gratifying things for Boise fans to see is Holani carrying the ball in this game. He hadn't had a lot. I think that's just his second carry so far tonight.
Yep.
He's done some blitz pickup. He had 1 target down the field. But just to see him moving around in the football uniform and making plays, already has the touchdown. Great sign for the Broncos' future.
Third down, Bachmeier to the end zone, incomplete. Inyang with the coverage on Khalil Shakir.
Great job by Inyang, young man out of Missouri City, Texas, the senior. First with the big batted ball this time. That ball not really catchable, but he's in the neighborhood. And a big stop for UTEP just to force this attempt.
Well, how close was this to ending on a C.T. Thomas touchdown? Inyang making the play to force an incomplete pass, and now a 27-yard attempt. That will make its way through the uprights with 3 minutes to go in the half. 34-13 could have been worse if you're UTEP. They hold the Broncos to a field goal. Back in 30 seconds. Well, winning Idaho here.
Come on.
Got to promote the local crop. State Farm halftime coming up. Oregon, Ohio State, of course, the big noon showcase game tomorrow. Stanford, USC. Sneaky game, late night window on Fox. And this will be a touchback to start for UTEP. Well, we have a new T retriever, if you will. This is Blitz, who takes over this year.
Beloved in Boise. Almost as much as the guy in the potato costume.
New T-Dog for the Broncos.
There's the potato head.
Is that the proper name?
I don't know. Couldn't be anything else.
That's true. That is.
What
I didn't know if
part of
that
the
was a
body would you-
trademark or not. I don't know if I owe somebody $5 now.
That's their third. It's a full timeout.
Final timeout taken by the Miners.
Something that Gavin saw that he didn't like.
Oh, they love this team across the state of Idaho.
That guy's going to have a hard time eating a hot dog with those things on his hands.
I don't think it matters much. Just going to take a wild guess at that. But it's great to see one of the great environments in college football. Albertsons Stadium, Boise, Idaho. Well, if you're UTEP, you came in here and started off strong, but you're going up against this. There's a lot backing this, and you alluded to it earlier, Petros, with the turnover in the coaching staffs over the years and all the new coordinators that get brought in. It's not just a coach, it's new staffs. They've kept this continuity from one staff to the next.
And Avalos told us environment results in culture. They have a great environment. They want to build on their great traditions, and they have that. 59-8 at home since 2010. Unbelievable.
To the outside, this is Justin Garrett. We were a little confused earlier because he's wearing a nameplate that is not his. That is indeed Justin Garrett. Must have been an equipment issue. And as a result, he's wearing a different man's number 2. Tyreek Jones pushed him out of bounds after a gain of 4.
Minorly confusing.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused earlier. At least I know what state we're in. Arneson fires to the sideline into coverage, nearly picked off. Well, when you see 26, your mind instantly goes to Avery Williams, but that is Caleb Biggers, the transfer from Bowling Green, who nearly picked him off.
This is another big third down here for UTEP, trying to keep this game close. They do not want to give the ball back to Hank Bachmeier and that explosive play-oriented Broncos offense. Gotten away a little bit from their run game here in this drive.
third down. Pocket collapsing. Now, contain, kept him in it long enough just to throw it right to Tyreek Jones. Hardison had all that time, just wanted to find somebody downfield and forced it. And Jones comes away with his second career INT.
California safeties, Tyreek Jones making another play, and he just forced it like you said, Alex. Gavin just threw this one late over the middle. Offensive line did a great job of buying him some time, but ball should have never been thrown into that double coverage. With Tyreek Jones just waiting to cradle it. And Caleb Bigger's in the area as well. And that's exactly what you didn't want to do to end the half after a nice score and then forcing of a field goal.
Chance to put this game well in hand in the first half. Caught underneath by Evans. Rounds the corner, then had the ball stripped. It's on the deck and picked up by Tyrese Knight. Quick change gives the ball right back to UTEP.
What a job by, first of all, the strip, and then T. Knight with the scoop. A lot of times guys try to make that play, and they have a hard time securing the football, and you get to see it all booted around. Great strip there from Dennis Barnes, the nickel. And good complementary football on defense by Knight to pick it up. And UTEP dodges their own turnover bullet. Physical finish to that play.
That's a reprieve for the Miners. Now what do they do with it? No timeouts, 2:07 to go in the half. And Hardison right back to work after throwing the interception. Has time and completes over the middle. Cowing again. He's been their big play receiver tonight. Ezekiel Noah brought him down, and there's an injured Bronco. That's Tyreek Jones, who just had that interception and now is in serious discomfort.
They're finding little holes in this Boise secondary to get the ball, mostly to Jacob Cowing. That time over the top of Jones, and it looks like he kind of fell on his hip into that little hole in front of the rest of the defenders. Alexander Tubner was back there as the deep safety. Really impressed with Cowing and that connection he's had with Gavin Hardison.
Cowing now up to 112 receiving yards tonight. Have a look at it.
Jones falling on that tailbone. Nothing hits harder than the ground out on the football field. It's the only thing that doesn't move. And might have gotten the wind knocked out of him there.
Well, this is an artificial grass that's softer than the old AstroTurf used to be. But still a pretty solid surface underneath it. They'll slowly get Tyreek Jones to his feet, the athletic training staff out from Boise State. They'll walk off on his own power. So here's the situation after the 24-yard reception for Cowing. It's a first down for UTEP at the Boise 33.
These guys already food. No,
As Tyreek Jones slowly makes his way to the sideline. A reminder of the State Farm halftime show. Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and Bob Stoops coming up. Preview Big Noon Saturday on Fox tomorrow. Just over 2 minutes to go in the half. And Gavin Hardison. We haven't seen much of Ronald Ayler last little while. Ronaldo Flores in the backfield here.
Been an aerial attack.
Hardison scampers away and will duck out.
Hardison learning his lesson a little bit earlier in the game. He hung around a little bit too long in the backfield before getting rid of the ball, and it caused a turnover that turned into a Boise touchdown right away. See the timeout situation. They do not want to get the ball back to Boise with a lot of time on that clock due to the way they've been so explosive in the second quarter in particular.
1:47 to go. Again, UTEP without a timeout when the clock stops with Hardison getting out of bounds. Hardison floats this one a little bit shallow. Justin Garrett, the intended target. Markel Reed in coverage. Rick LaBeouf. I beg your pardon.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 55. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They got Shane Irwin,
Wow.
the sack master. He was there. Let's see what he did to Hardison to get the penalty. Yeah, I mean, he clubbed him a little bit, but I don't think he was very late on it. Just maybe they didn't like the violent way he put him down. That ball hit Reed in the back. Irwin a little bit confused as to why the flag came out of the pocket.
Eldridge in the backfield on first down. They throw it again. And this time it's caught by Trent Thompson. His first reception of the evening. First time he's been targeted. 11 yards, another first down for UTEP.
He had a touchdown catch last week, and they like to involve these big guys that are primarily blockers in their run game because it adds a different dimension. And Thompson steps out of that first tackle, makes a physical play to finish for the first down.
First down and goal at the Boise 6. There's Eldridge. The block just evaporated in front of him. And he's going to be tackled for a loss of 3. Riley Wimpy and Ezekiel Noah there.
These UTEP backs are not getting underneath the pullers when they come pull around, and they're exposing themselves to the Riley Wimpys of the world without a lot of support from their line.
Timeout. No, remember early in this game, those long drives, first 2 of the game for UTEP, 2 out of the first 3, that they settled for those field goals. And you wonder how this game and the tenor of it might have changed had those been punched in for the Miners. I mean, as it stands, get within 2 possessions here if you can finish off this drive.
You know, they moved the ball in the first quarter in a very different way. They ran the ball. They did what we thought they were going to come into the game doing. A heavy Ronald Awatt right at the teeth of the Boise State defense. But some big plays from Boise State have kind of changed UTEP's play calling with Dave Warner, their OC. And they've been throwing the ball down the field a lot more. You see those first down numbers. And it's been a little bit of a quarterback duel between big Hank Bachmeier and Gavin Hardison.
That we did not expect. Now, Hardison, to be fair, UTEP, I know it's early in the season, but they're averaging 17.5 yards per completion coming in.
And that's a play action. A lot of the stuff that's based on their run.
Hardison with time, steps up, throws, it is intercepted. Shea Oladipo. And he takes it all the way up to midfield, stops up, loses the football. See who landed on it up the sideline. That's one of the offensive linemen, Darta Lee, and Elijah Klein in there.
And were they on the ball? I mean, he definitely fumbled, and it looked like UTEP had possession, but was UTEP out of bounds with possession?
Ball was intercepted, fumbled, and recovered by the offense out of bounds. It belonged to the intercepting team at the out-of-bounds spot. First down.
Exactly what you were alluding to, Petros.
tough situation.
That's too bad, really.
For Hardison. Oladipo in the game because we just saw Tyreek Jones go out when he fell on his hip. Oladipo out of Centennial, Colorado, the backup safety, just a freshman. And look at him go down the sideline, jumping in front of Ballard to make that play. And then he just stays up. He refuses to go down after the tackle by Darda Lee. And very fortunate to maintain possession. Very well could lead to points for Hank Bachmeier on offense.
See the backside of Elijah Klein there when he recovered the ball. So 48 seconds left in the half. 52-yard return after the interception. This is plenty of time with 2 timeouts for the Broncos.
The 2 timeouts, and they called the timeout defensively. They didn't like the look. Andy Avalos didn't like it. Spencer Danielson, the DC. They called the timeout, forced the turnover, and now they're back in business. Good complementary football.
Here's Bachmeier, and he's going to be sacked. Keenan Stewart. Loss of 6.
Keenan Stewart is somebody wearing the number 54 that they really, really love at UTEP. They say one of the best defensive linemen around. He's got a really twitchy body. At an Iowa Western Junior College, a real find.
Legal formation. 5 players in the backfield. The penalty's been declined. Result of the play is 3rd down.
Second sack of the season for the redshirt sophomore. Talking with Bradley Dale Vito. Seems like one of the more effective D linemen they had last season. Bachmeier taking a shot downfield, and there's a flag. Looked like it was pretty clear cut. Pass interference. Even with that, Shakir was able to bring it in for a 35-yard catch.
It just shows you the confidence that Khalil and Hank have in each other. He'll stand in there and take the hit.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, defense number 13. That penalty's declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 3. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Yikes.
Tyreek James came on the blitz, and it looked like he was zeroed in on Bachmeier, but just did not hold up when he needed to. You see him coming there from the left. You know, maybe it's because he hit him all the way to the ground, but I'm not sure how late that is. Great play by Shakir to go up and make the catch.
I haven't seen Praise Amehule. He's been banged up for UTEP. Bachmeier takes another hit, completes underneath, and stretching to the goal line is Riley Smith. He'll come up short by a half yard. Tyrese Knight prevented the score. Now the clock moving inside of 10 seconds. Boise will take a timeout.
Timeout. Boise State. Their second. 30-second timeout.
What a slow battle of wills here on the edge. Riley Smith, the tight end, is going to catch it, making himself available late to Bachmeier, kind of drifting out in the flat area. And Tyrese Knight with the tackle. Good call there. The knee is down before the ball is stretched out. Really well done by the officials.
So this sets up a chip shot, or if you want to pile on here. See how aggressive the Avalos wants to be. $34 points in this first half.
The game clock is being reset to 18 seconds remaining. The ball is at the line after the reception by Riley Smith.
Keeping the offense on the field here.
18 seconds. And another timeout, so plenty of time.
Yeah, they moved the clock back. That was the deal. And Van Buren looks like he punches it in, still waiting on the signal. Near side gives it to him. Got a great block from the tight end, Tyler Eguren. And it's a 40 spot in the first half for the Broncos. So we'll check the flag.
Maybe an unsportsmanlike.
The flag on the field near the 5.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 66. The 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. That's number 66, first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
Over partying by an offensive lineman, for shame. Ben Dooley gets that penalty. But you just can't leave. If you're UTEP, you leave any time on that clock. Boise's going to find a way to take advantage of it.
7 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm going to keep going back to that time of possession because it is bonkers what Boise has done tonight, putting points on the board. They averaged 34 per game last year.
Well, Van Buren is their big dog. 6 foot, 240. Just the left side A gap between the center and the guard. Doesn't get more simple than that in the world of football. And Boise starting to be able to run the ball the way they went into the game planning to do.
Van Buren, week 1 against UCF, limited just 34 yards rushing. This Bronco team was bottled up on the ground. Even today, just 22. But they've mattered quite a bit, rushing for 3 touchdowns. Olani with 1, Van Buren with 2. And it is 41-13. This got away from the Miners to the tune of 31 points in the second quarter.
And they just answered with a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you think about it. They were in the midst of a terrific drive before the interception. Walter Dawn from his own 14. And there's Damon Cole to make the special teams tackle with 7 seconds left in the half.
You're right. UTEP was driving, starting to threaten to cut it to a 2-score game. And that interception and the return from Oladipo, a few explosive plays later, things feel a lot more out of reach going into the locker room.
Well, it was the defensive side of the ball that got away from them last week against UCF. Spencer Danielson, their defensive coordinator, said they were trying to do a little bit too much. But today they did just enough, forcing 3 turnovers from the Miners and scoring 41 points in the first half of this ball game. 41-13 at the end of the first half here in Boise, Idaho, as the Broncos jog off the field looking for their 20th consecutive victory in a home opener. Big Saturday coming up tomorrow. After the break, State Farm Halftime will preview tomorrow's games on Fox. It's all Broncos to start the weekend here on FS1. As we start the second half, FS1 College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage, and the Broncos will have the ball to start the second half. 41 points. Well, that must feel good after the wild swings that ultimately resulted in their first loss of the season last week. They led 21-0 against UCF. Here, 41 first half points.
Ended up scoring 31 at UCF, and for Coach Avalos' team, as you look at the first half stats, that was a slog. The long weather delay and then coming out, representing themselves well, and then having a big lull in the third quarter. So one thing that Boise State, teaching-wise, is going to do is going to try to avoid a third quarter lull. Dana Dimel would love if Boise State would have a third quarter lull, a little bit like they had in the first quarter, where they kind of were trepidatious coming into this game, and some big punches landed by UTEP, but not enough to get into the end zone early, and that's kind of been the difference in this game. Although they were aerial in the second quarter and had a couple of drives, one with the interception at the end of the half, and one that led to a touchdown.
There's the third quarter we're talking about against UCF last week, where things just got stuck. A couple of miscues. UCF wound up with a 74-yard touchdown drive to end the first half that kind of carried momentum into that second half. Beckley will kick off for the Miners. And from 2 yards deep, C.T. Thomas. Look out! And Thomas up near midfield. There's a flag. Came out all the way to the 48-yard line. That's about a 50-yard return.
Yeah, if your helmet comes off, you can't go after the runner and act like you're going to make a play with your hair all flying around. That's gonna draw a flag. Hard to do, though, to be on a football field and not try to make a football play even without your hat. Some wild special teams plays in this game in return.
No kid. There's the return. And there's
personal foul, kicking team, number 43, participating without a helmet. The 15-yard penalty would be assessed to the dead ball spot, first down.
Side Taule, excuse me.
Freshman linebacker. Letting everybody see that beautiful head of hair. You know, if your helmet's going to fall off, might as well have something to show, you know?
I guess so.
Look at that. No wonder he had it on loosely.
After the penalty yardage, ball is all the way up at the UTEP 38 to start this drive. And that's a nice catch for Octavius Evans. Selling out to make the grab.
You know, it feels kind of old hat maybe, but Hank Bachmeier just gets that ball out on time, and he's always done that ever since his first start against Florida State when he came to Boise and got people so excited. But he is not hesitant, so deliberate delivering that football to multiple receivers. There it is again.
This time it's Shakir building on his career high in yardage. Tackle made by Dennis Barnes. But that's something that Tim Plow and Andy Avalos both commented on with respect to Bachmeier, is that his timing and his footwork have gotten even better.
And that's what you'd expect. You know, you bring a quarterback in and you want to hone his skills. You want to refine them. And Hank has really done a lot of that.
And it's a touchdown over the top to Tyneil Hopper. The tight end with his first career score.
Tight end recruit all the way from Roswell, Georgia. And it's just that tempo and the explosive plays down the field. And after a little bit of a while, the defense is all going one way, and there he is with nobody even close, going against the grain. What a play call by Tim Plow.
Tyneil Hopper, seldom used, but getting a chance here.
Bachmeier just does not flinch in that pocket, does he? He'll take any hit, just stands in there and delivers. Like Edward James almost. Remember Stand and Deliver? I'm dating myself.
Vaguely. It was a little before my time.
It's a great educational film. And this is college football.
I'll tell you what, again, fairly easy route to pick up for Bachmeier, but quick steps, super efficient. And just a minute 10 off the clock. They are averaging, Petros, a minute 12 per scoring drive.
25 yards a throw. Every time Bachmeier completes a ball, it's a quarter of the field. So it's been an offensive clinic for 3 quarters by the Broncos.
And the ball will come out to the 25-yard line. And the Miners will have
This is not what Miners had in mind. It seemed like things were heading in the right direction a couple of different times tonight. 6th meeting all time between UTEP and Boise State. The Broncos are 5-0. These are former conference mates for a brief period of time in the Western Athletic Conference. First time they've met since 2004.
And who knows, in the world of seismic change with conferences, and Dana Dimmel trying to build an identity at UTEP, what the future is in El Paso as far as where they'll be.
Awat back in the game. Long stretcher didn't get a touch. Already up to 13 carries though. For 45 yards.
Jackson Craven's got in there. Some of these D linemen for Boise are just nasty, big guys. And they've always had a defensive line that looks a lot more Power 5 than it does Mountain West, if you know what I'm saying. Big, intimidating guys.
Again. Oh boy. Nowhere to run. Shea Oladipo, remember, came into the game to replace the injured Tyreek Jones, and the freshman is making an impact.
Oladipo with the big interception, like you said, that set up the touchdown right before the half, gets into the backfield, and Boise really diagnosing that UTEP wanted to come out and run the football again in the 3rd quarter like they did to start the 1st quarter, and bringing that safety very close to the line of scrimmage. Unblockable, makes a play.
5th tackle for loss tonight for the Broncos D. Arneson, screen pass caught by Flores, and he's spun down by Riley Wimpy after crossing the 25-yard
Roughing the
line.
passer. Defense number 38. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Pretty quick trigger on all those flags tonight.
There's been a few. And at least they're calling them both ways.
Yeah.
Dimitri Washington that time.
It's, I'm going to disagree with that one.
Insult to injury. They threw the flag right at him. It bounced off his head.
Yes.
Washington's made some plays. Had the sack and forced fumble earlier in the game that led to another touchdown.
And he's another one of these Broncos coming off injury last year. Started a couple of games. Arneson, the outside. And this ball is complete to Tyron Smith. A lot of signaling going on the sideline for Boise, but the only one that matters is the one wearing the stripes. 9-yard gain.
Went through the arms there. I think he caught it with the thighs. That's how I like to catch. There he goes. He rolls over on it, but he did secure the football. So good reason for all that gesticulation on the sideline. But Smith pulls it in.
And gave him a little bit more on the completion, so it's a first down at the UTEP, at the Boise 44. Into tight coverage and broken up by Ikala Kaniho. First time we called his name tonight. First team academic All-American last year, led the Mountain West in passes defended last season.
Yeah, we're happy to see him. He's out in the first half for a targeting penalty that he got in the second half of the UCF game. And I'm sure he wanted this game to be maybe a little bit more competitive when he got in, but good to see him stretching his legs and making some plays.
Second down.
Bonus season for him. Second down. There's a dart complete to Walter Ton Jr., then he fumbled it. J.L. Skinner with the recovery. Beg your pardon, Ezekiel Noah with the recovery. That's the second time in this game we've seen a reception followed by a fumble. Now the Broncos have it again on the fourth turnover for the Miners tonight. Well, it's a significant weekend. 20 years ago, we vowed to never forget. And you can help America keep that promise to its heroes. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org. T, the number 2, T.org. You learn more. Terrific organization that does a lot of great work for first responders in the New York City area. And here in Boise, one-sided affair, the home opener for the Broncos. So BB Lakia making the grab. He's primarily as a running back, 12 carries for 23 yards last week. The transfer from Oregon picks up 17 here for a first down.
Going to be a lot to look at for Dana Dimmel and Bradley Dale Pivotal. Just wide open receivers out of the backfield and lined up at the line of scrimmage on a few occasions. Too many.
Bachmeier from his back foot, incomplete. Intended for Davis Cutter. Did not play last season.
Another big body right in the face of Bachmeier at the end of that play to Funa. He's taken a few hits in this game, but doesn't look like it's phased him at all. He is sharp as ever.
I wonder at what point we might see Jack Sears.
Great call.
There's a BB Lakia off the swing pass. And he nets 4. And that goes back to something that the coaches at Boise were talking to us about, is that Bachmeier's footwork has improved, which has helped him escape those situations, but he's still had injury trouble in the past. And there is the former USC Trojan. Flag on this play.
Play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 69. 15-yard penalty, the down counts, it'll be third down.
Well, that's the second unsportsmanlike penalty on the Boise offensive line. The first one on a celebration with Ben Dooley. This one, Garrett Curran. Nothing wrong with a little nastiness from your offensive line. And there has been, as you mentioned, Alex, a very quick trigger on all the personal foul, unnecessary roughness, those types of penalties in this game for this officiating staff, which is a Conference USA group.
Unsportsmanlike in particular is a point of emphasis this year. Now a 3rd and 20 on the Boise State 44. There's BB Lakia again. Cyrus BB Lakia from Palo Alto, California, St. Francis High School. Redshirt senior, former Oregon Duck, 6-yard gain. Fourth down upcoming.
UTEP really ran kind of a prevent style, setting up right at the sticks there, letting Hank Bachmeier have anything he wanted underneath. They only rushed 3, and not a bad stop by the Miners.
Joe Velasquez on the field, put the ball away.
Joe Velasquez with the punt. Fair catch for Garrett. And it'll be downed by the Broncos at the 9-yard line. We'll step aside. on what has so far been a successful home opener for Boise State. So here's Justin Garrett. Had the fair catch on that punt, wearing number 2. And the name, we got an answer on this, is in honor of Babe Laufenberg's son, Luke, who passed away of cancer. Played spring ball with UTEP in 2019. Never saw regular season action. And where's that
tribute?
Oh, where's that nameplate in tribute? Low snap here for Hardison. An incomplete pass intended for Garrett.
Garrett's been a good secondary receiver. It's Jacob Cowing, who was the Offensive Player of the Week for Conference USA last week. But Garrett's made some big plays down the field as well.
I know it may look ugly today for UTEP, but that 2-0 start is significant to the program. 16 years since they've started the season 2-0. As Hardison throws over the middle, intercepted. Was tipped on the way to Shea Oladipo, who has his second pick and is looking to run it back before he's tackled by the left tackle, Darte Lee. That's 2 picks for the freshman, who has made an impact as a substitute tonight.
And Lee almost knocked him to pieces. He got down right before Darnell Lee, that big old lineman, could knock him out. Another throw late down the middle into double coverage. What can you say there? Oladipo just gets underneath. Big Darnell Lee, 6'3", 315 pounds. Cowing is the one that got him down. And these downfield throws are just really coming back to hurt Gavin Hardison in this game. A lot of mistakes out there in the third quarter.
This is not the Miners' game, keep in mind. 4 turnovers last 4 possessions. They wanted, coming into the day, to run the ball, and only because the score was being run up did they get taken off their game plan. There's Andrew Van Buren with a stiff arm, getting by the initial wave. Keenan Stewart slowed him down off the hop.
Stewart with really good-looking body, flashing into the backfield to make that play. As you see Oladipo, just a freshman, with all the congratulations. 2 big turnovers.
Yep.
Who knows how much he thought he was going to play in this game, playing behind Skinner.
I was about to say, you know, if you're playing behind Skinner, Jones. Shovel pass here to Holani. 3rd goal after a pickup of 4.
And Holani's body looks live. He looks like he has the suddenness that he normally has. Very few carries in this game for him, and a very set amount of plays. But they do love seeing him get out there.
Former freshman of the year in the Mountain West in 2019. Bachmeier escapes the pressure. And he'll spin and come up short. Davion Inyang prevented the touchdown. 4th and goal.
Well defended by Inyang there, and he's come up and made some pretty good plays. See the leader of that defense, T. Knight, huffing and puffing. Here comes Inyang coming up and forcing Bachmeier out of bounds, and then using his body and momentum to carry him out. That upset Hank. Hank wanted to score there.
Boise was bringing the heat. Haven't seen too much of him for UTEP. He's a little banged up. 4th and goal. They go for it with Van Buren, and he stopped. Keenan Stewart made the tackle. And he got a little bit of help there from Elijah Robinson to prevent the touchdown. And the Miners will take over on downs when we come back. (48-13). UTEP takes over in their own 2-yard line. I don't think anyone was expecting a rout from the Miners. Wanted something a little bit more competitive here tonight. Still a building project very much. As Ronaldo Flores finds a seat and is dragged down by Canijo. Took a lot to get him down. It's a first down for UTEP. And again, this is a program that is coming out of years where they had won just one game or maybe two games in an entire season. And they are headed in the right direction, regardless of what the score may look like tonight.
Talked about Flores' story, an inspirational story. Hometown guy from El Paso. Got up a little gimpy there with the knee. And a nice run on the coming out. And that was a physical finish to that.
Yes, sir. Awatt got driven to the ground by Wimpy. Flag down.
I don't know what they're going to call on Wimpy here.
That might be targeting.
Yeah, I mean, with 2 yards from the line of scrimmage, a running back and a linebacker, that's going to be interesting.
And I only say that because we've seen some calls even with runners this year, and it's a point of emphasis, especially with respect to the crown of the helmet.
Personal foul, targeting, defense 4. The play is under review.
That's what I suspected. All right, Mike Pereira, you talked a bunch with us during the offseason about how we break down targeting. How do you break this one down?
Well, again, you're looking at it, and is it the crown of the helmet? Now, remember, this is a runner, not a defenseless player. So does he lead with the crown of the helmet and actually make contact to the side of the head of the runner? And we take a look at that last shot. Is he in an attacking motion? Those are the indicators, all that they have to look at. Now, the one thing that they are doing now is trying to prove all aspects. So even though it's called, it's not like you lean in the direction of it being called.
Targeting on the field is confirmed. Number 44 is disqualified.
And so in this case, what you see is they felt that he was in the attacking motion with the absolute top of his helmet.
And then that's how it ended up, and it's the letter of the law, and I get it, but he went off, the running back went off Canijo. I mean, he bounced off another guy into Wimpy.
All the liability, though, Petros, all the liability goes on the attacking player. So even though the runner may brace for some the contact, or even if he changes his body angle, it's still on the tackling player. So it is one of those deals. It's really tough on the person making the tackle, but it is the way they have chosen to address this issue of concussions, and I actually do think it's worked.
It has helped, but I think there's a reason you don't often see it called 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage like that.
Here's the other point of this. This is off the hands, by the way, of Tyron Smith and brought back by Ezekiel Noah. Looked initially like an incomplete pass, but Noah takes advantage.
I was with you.
I want to go back to the targeting issue there. This is significant for next week because Boise plays Oklahoma State on this field, and they will be without Wimpy in the first half.
Yeah, they're going to need him. There's no doubt about it, and that is unfortunate. Here, I'm not sure if Smith ever had it. It seemed to be bouncing around a little bit within his arms when it hit the turf, but very good play either way to pick it up by Noah. And now we're going to have to take a look at that one. But that is the unfortunate thing about the Wimpy play, Alex, that I didn't like either. Not the fact that he took a penalty at this point in this game, but that he will miss the first half of a very significant game. And that's a very physical play, and you're tackling a very physical back. I just don't like the call.
Turnover was confirmed by video review. 6th turnover for UTEP. That's an unfortunate one.
Well, they didn't look at it very long, did they?
No. George Holani back out there, getting a few more touches. They must like what they see in terms of his health. Otherwise, in a situation like this, I wouldn't expect him to be back out there getting the carries he has.
I don't know how many more miles they're going to put on the odometer in this one, but his body looks live, Alex, no doubt.
Look at it again. This time he's driven back. Tyrese Knight with the tackle.
First down.
Third down and 5 from the UTEP 14-yard line. Bachmeier on a design run.
Bachmeier keeps the ball.
And they'll just keep this clock moving, bringing up 4th down.
Seems like Andy Avalos and Tim Plow are working some situations here that they want to take a look in the red zone with their offense. Going into that big game, like you said, not sure how much longer we'll see those fellas as UTEP forces another field goal.
Dalmas again.
29-yarder.
2 for 2 tonight. Long of 39. This from 29. And the lead is 51-13. 4:19 to go in the third quarter. Well, we are assuming that Hank Bachmeier's night is done. 17 of 24 tonight. Didn't have to wait 2 hours to play. Remember last week? Hey, just, you know, casually, let's actually get some school in while we're waiting. Not a bad way to spend a 2-hour lightning delay, Orlando.
Well, like Coach Avalos was telling us, they took off the pads, they put them back on, they went back out on the field, they had to go out. Really frustrating way to start your season.
Walker Dawn tiptoeing the sideline, and then it's driven down by Joe Velasquez. Kickoff, man. Well, here's Bachmeier's night, Petros. What do you think?
Just about as sharp as always and tough as nails like he is, distributing the ball not just to his stars and his playmakers like George Alani, but all over the field. Cobbs with that big touchdown. First touchdown ever for Hopper, the tight end. And his toughness and his ability to lead as evident as ever. And like you pointed out, Alex, Tim Plow was telling us that footwork and that delivery, very strong. And here's Jack.
And here's a new quarterback for UTEP as well. Calvin Brownholtz.
Number 54. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
Have to start 5 yards further back. Stephen Hubbard with the false start. Brownholtz, redshirt sophomore from Carmichael, California.
Another California quarterback.
Imagine that. It's a pretty big state, Petros.
I'm just saying, they're everywhere. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia.
Helmet to helmet.
Clemson.
Yeah. It'll have to be a bounce back performance for the Tigers this week. Brownholtz started last year's season finale. Gavin Hardison actually came down with COVID late in the year. Miners put up 43 points against North Texas, nearly came back from a double-digit deficit, which would have clinched a 500 season, and they would have played in the bowl, they told us.
Which is huge for what Dana Dimmel's trying to build at UTEP.
Straight run. And a lot of bodies that he ran into.
They talk about UTEP and what the future is for Coach Dimmel's team and kind of the reclamation project that he's had for the last 4 years, coming from Kansas State to build a Kansas State-like program. And they're doing a good job. They have much more of an identity than UTEP has had in years. And he told us this is the shining castle on the hill, Boise State. If you're in the group of 5, this is who you want to be. And it's a great litmus test to see how you measure up against them.
To the perimeter, and Nick Ost, former K-State Wildcat. And UTEP, to their credit, they've put some money into the Sun Bowl. Great venue to begin with, historic venue. They've been playing postseason football there since 1935, but recent renovation project there was complete. Going to be honoring their WAC champion team from the year 2000 coming up, bringing a whole bunch of alumni back, which has re-energized the program. At least 40 members of that team will be coming back to an event in El Paso next month. James Tupou with the carry here. That 2000 team, by the way, finished the season in the Humanitarian Bowl against Boise State.
Oh, there you go.
Dirk Cutter was the head coach for the Broncos at the time. As the Broncos beat them handily in that game, but it was still a marquee season for UTEP, who will start Conference USA play in short order.
You see that New Mexico game coming up for UTEP. Big rivalries there and similar recruiting area. New Mexico State is who they opened up with in the Battle of the I-10 and played very well.
Yeah, that was the first time they won that game since 2016. The brass spittoon and the silver spade. As they described to us, it is their version of the Red River. That's significant. Approaching the final minute of the third quarter. Tupou again. And he's tackled by DJ Schramm.
DJ Schramm with a nice play getting on the legs of Tupou. Junior out of Fresno, California. Trying to get the fullback some touches late in the game. It looks like UTEP get him a little bit of a feel for the ball.
Joshua Sloan is on the field.
Josh Sloan has had an eventful night. Punt return for a touchdown earlier that resulted in him getting laid out. But he's a gamer. He's from Australia, another Aussie rules product, and Pro Kick Australia that continue to churn out kickers for American football. That's a nice punt all the way down to the Boise State 5. Fair catch signal there. Sunday on Fox, the NFL is back with a huge doubleheader. Jalen Hurts leads the Eagles against the Falcons. Then America's Game of the Week, Aaron Rodgers leads the Pack against Alvin Kamara and the Saints. It all kicks off 1 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Of course, I had that interview with Aaron Rodgers coming up on Fox NFL Sunday, noon Eastern.
Inspiring information.
Yeah. Worth your time. Jack Sears is into the game for the Boise State Broncos. And this play will take us to the end of the quarter, and what a play it is for Tyler Crow. Backup running back. With the Broncos cruising to the finish line here. Fourth quarter coming up. Well, the second quarter changed the tenor of this game. This was a competitive game to start for 15 minutes, and then it turned. A couple of turnovers, slew of them in the end from UTEP, 6 in total. Sears again. As the backups are in for Boise. Tyler Crow yet again picks up 6.
Nampa, Idaho. Hometown guy, Skyview High School. Good size. 220 pounds. Jack Sears looks like he's in the game to hand it off so far.
Again. You know, this is also, I think, a nice bounce back, not just for the team, but for Andy Avalos and the coaches who were disappointed with how the team executed in the second half against UCF. And you know, they felt like they learned a lot of lessons last week. Sometimes they have to be painful.
Yeah, he was a little sullen, a little down about the way that third quarter played out, as you see Coach Avalos there. But again, I thought they played really hard and acquitted themselves quite well in a situation. I think today's day and age, we think of football players like video games or fantasy football, and you're young guys, and Coach Avalos knows that. He spent a lifetime in college coaching and teaching young men. And the shot of Hank Bachmeier on the Zoom class kind of sums that up, right? And they came out and played hard, but just had a bad lull. But it was a good game, and they looked to me like they were Boise, you know what I mean?
Right.
They felt like they came out and got beat by Montana in the first game.
Were you alluding to something?
Yes.
Because, yes, Montana did beat Washington last week. He's a Bronco through and through, 4-year letter winner, 2-time all-WAC honoree, outside linebacker. He was named one of the 30 greatest players in program history when they did a 30th anniversary celebration of the blue turf field. And, I mean, big shoes to fill is an understatement with Peterson and Harsin most recently. But in his second stint now with the coaching staff, coached under Cristobal, Eugene the last couple of years as the defensive coordinator. It's been all Tyler Crow this drive.
And it's interesting how Boise State maintains this identity. Avalos is the latest product of it, but Brian Harsin is now at Auburn, same deal. Just a great history through Boise, University of Oregon. Harsin came from Texas, which is a little odd, but he had Boise roots and played there. Most of these guys are all Davis-oriented, like Chris Peterson, Oregon-oriented, or they just come straight from Boise. It's amazing the way the consistency in the staff has really played out. And Andy's got some really young, exciting coordinators, but this is a very young staff. Most of these guys mentored by people like Chris Peterson, Dirk Cutter.
Right. Well, they all come back.
Yeah.
That's a testament to the culture they've built here.
You know, I don't like seeing a guy that played after I played and his pads are still super huge and he looks like he played a long time ago.
Wait a second. So, I mean, you two played in the same time span. That's you on the left. Who would win this battle?
Oh, no one says that I'm one of the top players in the history of anybody's university. But those are some pretty big pads. We had big pads back then. It looked cool. I don't know what people's problem is now. They make fun of you when they see your big pads.
Big pads and short jerseys. Sears slides past the 40-yard line.
You know, last year, Jack, and we saw it live, Alex, he had a great game against Air Force when Hank went down and came back and started that BYU game and just got hit early on a quarterback sneak, and that was that.
Yeah.
And his opportunity to compete against Zach Wilson just evaporated.
That game in particular left a lot of Bronco fans to think, what if last year? Because that BYU game was setting up to be a signature win that season if it all gone according to plan. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, but the injury situation, and it carried through the rest of the year for this team.
Yeah, the score was opposite, and it was BYU that beat Boise State.
Shocking.
They just don't get beat like that on the blue turf. And sure, there weren't fans in there, and you got that draft pick in Zach Wilson throwing the ball all over the place to Romney and Milne, but Jack Sears not being able to play in that football game basically ended Boise's chances to be competitive offensively.
Still wound up playing in the Mountain West Championship game, but it was a dream run for San Jose State last year. Nick Starkel back for a super senior season as the Broncos punt this away. And it'll be down at the 2-yard line. How about that special teams play? You get into the game in the fourth quarter when it's a blowout. Daniel Cantrell. It's a job well done.
Looks like a long snapper to me.
That's all working for the Broncos tonight. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage on a drizzly night in Boise, Idaho. Broncos are on their way to a 20th consecutive victory in a home opener. Calvin Brownholtz remains in the game for the UTEP Miners. Again, last year won 3 games in a shortened season, started 3-1. Despite numerous cancellations, disruptions, etc., this was still their best win total in 4 years, to give you an idea of where this program is building from. It was never going to be an easy task to come in here against an angry Bronco team that will get to 1-1 on the young season. Yikes. Well, there are all those numbers that haven't been called to begin. Alexander Tubner.
Yeah, Tubner's been out there a little bit in this game, and he's been physical. You see what Boise's got coming up, and you mentioned that Oklahoma State game. They're going to be without Riley Wimpy, their leading tackler, because of the targeting call here in the second half. Utah State's a tough team as they get into Mountain West play. You know what Carson Strong can do at Nevada, and I think BYU is the flip side of that. Without Zach Wilson, they're going to be a little bit of a different team. But I think, you know, Coach Avalos, you knew he was going to be fine, and everybody felt like he was the right hire, but getting a win is still very significant to start the season.
Oladipo looking to intercept another ball.
They move Brownholtz on the kind of a sprint option play. Avalos thought Oladipo was going to get another one. He's having some fun now, getting to express himself a little bit on the sideline, watching his defense play.
Close to a hat trick. By the way, that Oklahoma State game next Saturday here on FS1. 4th down and 3, they'll punt it. Sloan to midfield, and a fair call. Fourth quarter, 7:43 to go. All right, 3 big games to watch this weekend. Petros, let's dive in here.
Well, Oregon, Ohio State, I just don't know where the offense is going to come from for Oregon to keep up with what C.J. Stroud, another California quarterback, is doing. The Colorado situation at A&M, that's going to be a slog for Colorado. And then the Holy War. And I love Charlie Brewer, the Utah quarterback transfer from Baylor. I think his personality and how tough he is fits beautifully with what Kyle Whittingham has built in Salt Lake City. And that's going to be a fun one to watch for the rest of the year. And just to see how BYU can acquit themselves without Zach Wilson.
Well, that's the big question right now in Provo. So these 3 probably the big ones to watch. Alabama gets one of their guarantee opponents.
Are you sure?
Well, they paid the guarantee already. It's already in the bank.
Well, you know,
I believe
JT Daniels is out for that UAB game.
Yep. And then Cyhawk.
Oh, I love the Cyhawk.
That could actually be an important game for both at the end of the season. Well, down the sideline here is Taquan Tyler. Sophomore running back from Waco, Texas, junior college transfer.
Speaking of Baylor, huh?
Yeah.
Tyler hitting the edge here. Nice seal. Boise's called, I think, 19 straight runs.
Yeah.
To finish this one off.
Can't really blame him. And the stats at the end of the day will not show truly how, again, scored 3 touchdowns on the ground, but didn't gash UTEP on the ground tonight.
No, Tyler Crow, just from the last couple series, is the leading rusher for Boise. So They didn't come in really running the ball or taking over on that side of the ball like they wanted to. They did get George Holani some touches. Habibi Likio looked okay. Looked like is still in the mix. And Van Buren did what he was asked to do inside the 5, other than being stopped on the goal line once. So a little bit better in the run game, but still an area of concern if you're a Broncos fan, I believe.
Again, Tyler gets the call here. So the big question then going in against a Big 12 opponent next week is, all right, have they reestablished the run game at all with Holani? It was only used sparingly tonight, but if they have him at 100%, it's almost required to have him at the table.
Well, like you said, Alex, I think that leading up, even the Central Florida game, which they really wanted to win and put a foot down as the #1 group of 5. But I think you've seen a pitch count for Khalil Shakir and a pitch count for Holani, because they're going 100% all out in Oklahoma State.
Injured player for UTEP. We'll step aside. All right, start Saturday strong with big noon kickoff, 10 Eastern time, and then big noon, Oregon, Ohio State. Huge for the entire Pac-12 North, followed by Texas A&M, Colorado. It all starts 10 a.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. And then rare late night window at the Coliseum, SC and Stanford. As Taquan Tyler gets another carry here. First of all, what are we thinking about Oregon? Because they had trouble with Fresno State last week.
Yeah, I just don't know offensively if they have got, like we were talking about, if they've got the wherewithal to run with the Buckeyes in the shoe. I love that SC Stanford matchup, though, that you mentioned. You know, that's always a really physical battle.
Stanford, they need a bounce back.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to be as much of a blowout as some people have expected.
SC taking care of the reigning Mountain West champion San Jose State last week.
Yeah, and Stanford's going to start another California quarterback in that one out of Corona Centennial. Tanner McKee is going to start that one after Jack West sputtered a little bit in the Dallas Palace against Kansas State.
Tyler wrapped up in the backfield. Sione Tongahua, called his name yet tonight, freshman from Tempe, Arizona. And a 4th down for the Broncos. Field goal unit will come on.
And a lot of this stuff to viewers seems a little bit pedestrian, but this is huge. And there's a reason Andy Avalos is really animated watching these backups in the game. This is the development of your program. This is when guys get their first feel of great game action, and they build their careers off of this.
Another field goal to add to the tally for Jonah Dalmas. Hope he's on your fantasy team tonight. Well, somewhere underneath that mask, you'd hope there's a smile. I think he earns it tonight.
Absolutely. To be able to coach your alma mater on the blue turf with all that great heritage and history behind you and the environment that you helped build and now are the leader of, to finally have it come to fruition and get that first victory, no small task and accomplishment.
Well, the story of the day has got to be turnovers. 6 of them in total forced by Boise defense.
Yeah, and a lot of this is when Gavin Hardison and UTEP kind of started to get away from their identity. That was a big one. That was about a 14-point swing, or could have been, right before the end of the half. And then just active hands, some late balls over the middle. Oladipo's been all over the place and forcing fumbles. That one was a very bang-bang play called by this Conference USA officiating crew. But nevertheless, A huge night for Boise State in all three phases.
Broncos had 3 takeaways all of last season. They doubled them in one night tonight.
And it just, you started to feel it get away from UTEP, and they just started to desperately throw the ball down the field. And with this safety play, we just saw Canijo in the second half. He'd been out for targeting. We talked about that. J.L. Skinner was spectacular. Oladipo with the 2 big turnovers. Tyreek Jones, who fell on his hip, was really good. And their corners have been pretty solid on the edges.
Jalen Joseph getting a carry here late in the game.
Physical tackle by Rodney Robinson to finish that one off.
There's Ezekiel Noah, who tore his ACL a couple years ago. And even with the pandemic last year, was able to return for fall camp in better shape than he had been prior to the ACL. This is back to form for the Bronco D. 3rd and 1. And a quarterback keeper for Brownholtz. That will bring up 4th down.
Another really good play by one of the backups, DJ Schramm. Out of Fresno, came in and made another pretty physical tackle for loss.
A couple of those tonight.
Yeah. See a lot of guys play a lot of good football in this Boise defense, and that's Avalos' identity as a coach. We see Dimitri Washington, Shane Irwin's been great. Wimpy, very physical, maybe too physical.
Credit too to Spencer Danielson in his first season. Again, it's an all-new coaching staff, top to bottom for the most part, with coordinators going elsewhere. The change up top. Brian Harson moving on. So with 1:59 to go, they can finish off this victory. 19 straight home openers, 6th longest streak in the country.
The ball being the 26-yard line. 1:59.
This will be number 20.
This is just not a place people go in and win.
Nope.
I mean, only Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama have better records at home since 2010.
We go back to that BYU loss last year and why it was so shocking. That was just the 10th home loss since the year 2000. But this one, about as complete as it gets.
Second down.
Yeah, I would say the only thing that's the question mark coming out of this game is not Hank Bachmeier as your quarterback distributing the ball or who your playmakers are offensively. It's how much can Boise establish and build on that run game. They have a really physical defense. They need that part to really balance out the football team and make it Boise-like.
Couple more knees, and that will wrap things up at Albertsons Stadium on a Friday night. They'll get an extra day off. They'll face Oklahoma State next Saturday night. And again, just to reiterate the difficulty that visitors have on this field and why the Broncos must feel really good heading into next week's showdown against the Cowboys.
And they are going to lose that Riley Wimpy, number 44, their leading tackler.
We'll see if that
in the first half of that game.
One more to close it out. And with that knee, Andy Avalos has picked up his first win at the helm of the Boise State Broncos.
Big accomplishment for him in his career. Back to the drawing board for Coach Dimmel, who's got a smile on his face for Avalos, as he knows Just how hard it is to get a group of young men ready to play, you know, no matter what the circumstances are.
Broncos cap off another victory on the blue turf. And that just gets the weekend started. Big noon Saturday. Tomorrow with Oregon and Ohio State. Great top 15 showdown. We'll have Texas A&M and Colorado later on in the afternoon. The action starts tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Big noon kickoff on Fox and the Fox Sports app. For Petros Papadakis and our entire Fox Sports crew, this is Alex Faust bidding you a good evening from the capital of Idaho. Boise State 54, UTEP 13.